welcome, everybody! Woo! It's the Brazil Grand Prix episode. Yeah, yeah, hey. We are. I wish I spoke Portuguese. All I know is muito obrigado, which is thank you. I'll say that at the end of the show.
Nice, well done.
Yeah. But we are so excited to be here talking about everything that went down at Sao Paulo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, this is Box Box Goss! Woo! Oh man, I mean, so we're recording this literally an hour after the race ended. So we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot going on in our brains. But before we get into it, well, except for maybe, I don't know, but I won't go there. Before we get into it, let's talk about news, which I think I'm going to rely on Asay for this because I have not been paying as much attention to F1 news. So Asay, give us the tea.
Well, I mean, the tea is kind of lukewarm right now. Like Lewis Hamilton, he's officially got his honorary Brazilian citizenship, and we're so proud of him. And from this entire week has been an outpouring of love for Lewis Hamilton. We just love to see it. Yeah. What else has happened in the news? Mercedes has dropped FTX as a sponsor.
Right, that's happened because of the crypto crisis that's happening, going on. Apparently, there have been people making some very scary, risky bets, and it's causing kind of a crypto meltdown. I think even Crypto.com, which I think is a title sponsor for F1, is also encountering issues as well.
Aston Martin sponsor.
Yes.
It's not the first time we've seen a crypto company cripple. Thank you, I'll be here all night. And it certainly won't be the last.
No, I mean, look, I thought about investing in crypto. I don't know, because I'm just think about those sort of things. I will not be investing in crypto. That is
You'd be better off replying to the Nigerian prince's emails.
I would be.
Better off just giving me the money, in all honesty. So
yeah, just let Affy invest the money.
No, Affy won't invest the money. The fund of Affy is just for Affy. She will embezzle that shit like the FIFA, like the old FIFA, what's it called? Regulators as well too. That will go straight into her pocket, not for football.
It will.
Straight to the bank of Affy.
It's messy, so it's like, yeah. I mean, they quietly removed their Mercedes quietly removed FTX from their cars. Like the fallout has been a lot to watch. Lots of bit of mismanagement. It's yeah, it's awkward, and yeah.
Touch-ox, but you know what?
At least F1 has Heineken to fall back on.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be honest. Longtime sponsors have come and gone at F1. I mean, I've also heard news that Emirates, they have not renewed their contract with Emirates as well, too. So now they're looking at Qatar Airways as a new travel sponsor, which I'm not mad. I mean, I'm not mad. I'm not. I mean, I personally think that Emirates, as you know, we all have extensively traveled, just as FYI. And you know, as a lot of people that would know, us three girls can attest, we are long-time die-hard Emirates fans.
My first 4 years of travel was Emirates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know, I'm starting to turn Team Qatar. I mean, even my nails are kind of Qatar-ish anymore. Like now, they're like with the little...
Don't encourage them. We already have one race in Qatar. You give them a bit, and like soon we'll have 14 races in Qatar. You know how...
Do they even have space to have 14 races in Qatar? Let's all be honest. That thing is...
I mean, they have space with 10 stadiums.
It's literally the size of Rhode Island. Maybe even a bit bigger. I'm just saying, it's not.
I mean, like if they have space for 10 stadiums for the World Cup, they definitely have space for 14 races for Qatar. I mean, let's be honest, Qatar Airways is everywhere. And the pandemic has helped with that just because they were the only airlines that were flying when other airlines, Emirates included, decided to stop. And that kind of helped grow their profile. And even pre-pandemic wise, Qatar Airways has just been up there, especially with Q Suites. They've been that girl. And Emirates, Emirates, they're there, but they're just like there. And Qatar Airways is like they're slowly building their profile, especially with sponsoring the FIFA World Cup. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that Qatar Airways is just coming for a spot,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
we've had Emirates, we've had Etihad, we've had Gulf Air for Bahrain on track.
Yeah.
We've had quite a lot of
Singapore Airlines.
sponsoring
Singapore Airlines for
F1.
Singapore.
Yeah,
Singapore
Singapore
Grand Prix?
Airlines. And we've had a lot of clean,
That's-
like airlines are fairly clean on the F1 sponsors board, you know, other than maybe like Red Bull. And so it's like, it's
mean-
nice. I like it. I like it when airlines get involved.
Me too. And it makes
They-
sense, you know.
Yeah.
This is such a global sport.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look,
Fun
Emirates, we hope
watching
you
them
stick
get
around.
involved.
But if you don't let the door hit you.
Yeah.
Good luck, split you.
I have
I'm
news.
so,
Oh,
yeah. What's your news?
So there have been rumors for a while now, and we've talked about it here before as well, but like it's getting there because Toto Wolff said, yeah, we've heard he's been talking with Red Bull as well for the test driver position and such. And yeah, so I applied for a UK visa the other day. I'm happy to announce I'll be the test driver for Mercedes Petronas AMG. Thank you. Thank you.
Heard it first. Box Box Goss. You
Thank
heard
you.
it here first.
They did ask me if I committed any war crimes when I was applying for the visa. I said yes. They asked if I committed any hate crimes. I said no. Verstappen's a shit driver. That's not a hate crime. But yeah. So
We have just lost like 50% of our audience from that.
Yeah, we really have.
we'll bring Timo in
also-
next race and we'll just get him back. It's fine.
Yeah, no, and we possibly have lost half of the guest roster that we usually bring back, which McCaffrey and
Yeah.
Timo watching this. He's lying. Don't mind him. Anyway.
Terrible team player. Anyway, so Ricardo, Toto Wolff has admitted that Ricardo has talked to Mercedes for a test driver role. Honestly, good choice
it was a
Good
great
choice.
choice.
for Ricardo
great
and for
choice.
Mercedes.
Yeah, it's a great choice. I mean, I think it's he still gets to be a part of F1, which I think he's always wanted. He didn't really want to go on to any other bit, but Mercedes is a high-performing team. So yeah, he doesn't get to be on the main roster, but at least he gets to be with a very high-performing team. And, you know, shit happens. If Hamilton decides to retire or something happens to, or Russell decides to stop racing, things like that, he'll be in a very good spot to take the number 2 seat. So yeah, I think it's
Or-
a good, like, it's a soft place to
Or-
land, we should say.
Or what's the first race next year? Is it still Bahrain?
Yeah,
I think
still
it might be
Bahrain.
I kind of wish it was Australia. I do miss Australia being the first race. Anyways, I do like Bahrain. First race, Bahrain. George Russell fails to board an airplane, right? And we have Daniel Ricciardo racing alongside Lewis Hamilton.
Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing.
Because it's like there might be times where one of the drivers need to sub out.
Yeah,
Yes.
Can you imagine? That'd be so cursed though.
that'd be so cool.
I mean, the thing is like the thing is with that type of thing is that it's hit or miss. Just because you're a reserve driver doesn't mean you're going to be the guy that Mercedes calls upon. It's
That's
happened
true.
before. Like they ended up going with George. Like remember Sakir in 2020 when Lewis Hamilton got COVID, they went with George Russell rather
No,
than going with
that's
Van
because
Dorn.
that's because Van Dorn and De Vries, both Mercedes test driver, one of them was their reserve driver. It was either De Vries or Van Dorn. Both of them couldn't make it because of Formula E. That's why they had to bring George Russell in.
Oh.
So technically, yes, they have to bring their reserve driver in, just like how Nico Hulkenberg steps for every single team on Earth. On Earth, whenever they need a sub.
I will. We say that, but De Vries has also been around the block as well too, or been around the paddock, I should say. He
That's
has.
true.
I think he's like actually almost tested almost every single car on the grid at the moment. Like I think he's two away.
Pietro
Like-
Fittipaldi drove a Haas. I think it was last year Brazil.
Yeah.
And then also let's not forget Antonio Giovinazzi as well too for the U.S. Grand Prix. I think he was also driving for Haas, I believe, or Alfa Romeo.
No, but we're talking about during races. Practice is like practice. They switch
fair.
drivers all the time, but like for
Yeah.
races, we had Pietro Fittipaldi, Nico Hulkenberg. By the way, if any of us is gone next week, it's just gonna be Nico Hulkenberg.
Basically on.
Yeah, we've had a couple of drivers replace them.
I mean, the thing is that we all laugh at Nick De Vries for the race for going under for subbing in for at least half the teams. But you gotta respect the hustle. Got him a seat.
Gotta respect the hustle. Yeah, he schooled Latifi and got a seat, which is impressive.
Which honestly, and in anyone's defense of racing against Latifi, I don't think that's that difficult to do. But I'm just saying, but Latifi's thinking of a car seat. I'm sorry.
I'm excited to see you in a Williams for Abu Dhabi.
You know what? I'll take him. I will take him. I will take Latifi in a dogfight in a Williams. Let's bring it on. Williams, if you're listening to this, I would be happy to drive one of your cars against Latifi.
Williams,
I am throwing him. Anyway, guys, we have such an exciting...
There's one more piece of news. It's the most important piece of news.
What is it?
China's not going to be on the calendar next year.
Oh.
Wait, when did this happen?
I missed that.
It will happen. It's on the calendar for next year, but it's like they keep on putting themselves on the calendar and then they keep on canceling.
Exactly, and it makes sense.
Wait, no, but that makes sense.
If COVID restrictions are strict.
And
they might
it's not just COVID.
Go ahead.
Afi, your internet's lagging a little bit. Just hold and then come back. Or don't.
Afi, are you here?
Afi's died. Let's say he's died.
Hello?
We can hear you, but I think, I don't know. You might need to go.
Hello?
Oh, we can hear you. You're good. You're good. Yeah, you're back.
Yeah.
You're back.
Great.
So what about the China news?
Okay, cool. Should I repeat what I said? I don't know what you want me to do. No, I was saying that it makes sense as to why China is a little bit tipsy-turvy because of what's happening there. And I think it makes sense, and I don't think it would be the most financially smart idea for F1 to bring China on the calendar right now. I think it would be a really cool race, but I don't think it's a good idea at the moment.
I like the track.
Yeah. It's a great track.
Not the country.
You have
no
your
comment.
personal grievances with that. No comment. Anyway, the point is that it does look like it. Yeah, shit. That is a very important. The next logical choice will be Istanbul.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Logical. That does not mean that is actually happening. And if it
Logical.
is, where was China's place on the
Fourth.
calendar? There is no way I can get. No, Australia's third. There is no way that I can get from Australia to Istanbul in time for the Turkish Grand Prix. Enjoy, Selim. Anyway, if it does happen, enjoy.
No.
Look, we have to move on because we have
going.
such a big race.
If it happens.
Stella, we have to keep going with the show
know.
because we
Go.
have a Brazilian
I
Grand
didn't
Prix to
stop
get
you.
to. No, well, he's gonna mute me, isn't he, in 2 seconds? I don't want him to mute me. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going just in case. Look, we have a fantastic guest on because we had her on last year for Hungary. And she was amazing. She came on, she tried her best. She was engaging, but you know, F1 is not her first love, but she's willing to give it a go again for Brazil, and we're so excited to have her back. You may know her as the host of her own YouTube channel, the Antibot, which is so cool. You have to check it out. But to me, she is my bestie. Please welcome Taylor. Yay!
My dog's freaking out.
Yay! How are you, my darling?
Good. I am, just here for the ride. Just excited that you guys have me on and, looking forward to having this discussion with you. Sorry, my dog is like really freaking out. So I don't know if you can hear that.
Puggles. We love Puggles. He is one of our favorites.
He could be the mascot.
He should be our
Yes.
mascot, actually. Can we make him our mascot, Taylor, please?
Yes, of course.
Please.
Wait, and we get to see, you guys get to meet Puggles.
Oh my gosh.
He's so cute. And this is Selma's first time meeting. Oh wait, is it who hasn't met Puggles before? Selma, I think.
He's so cute. I love
He's
him.
so cute. He's the
Aw.
best. Puggles. Okay, so Puggles is our official mascot for 2023.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
But Taylor, we've been best friends for a very long time.
Very long time.
Very long time. And you've heard me talk about Formula One quite a fair bit.
Mhm.
Is that your only experience with Formula One? Talk us through it.
I'm gonna say I don't want to say that's my only experience, but that definitely is my main experience. I remember in high school you would talk about Lewis Hamilton all the time, and I was like, I don't know who this girl is on about, but I need to like figure this out right now. And then you start talking about Formula One, so I would say that you're my main experience with the sport.
See, I'm kidding. I've been an influencer, an F1 influencer my entire life.
You have been.
2008 was Saddam. Huh.
Actually, I met Taylor 2 years after that. So, and I think Lewis was no longer winning at that. He was.
Was it
into his,
2010?
yes, and I got into F1 in 2008.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, it might have been like 2000, like the end of 2009.
yeah, because
Wow,
I
the
remember we went to boarding school together. And in the boarding school, there was one other kid, which I've already spoke about actually on the show. He was a massive Vettel fan. So I don't know if you remember how many fights I got into it with him, and then like it was also entering Vettel's era of dominance with Red Bull.
Are you talking about Grimes?
No, I'm talking about Jan.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So like there was a lot of fight, but I think Grimes was into it as well too.
I feel like he was. I can't really remember.
Yeah, but I don't remember who he was for. Like, because there was not. Who was the Australian drive? Was there any Australian drivers driving 2008?
That was Mark Webber at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
Mark Webber. Yeah, that was it
just
though.
That was it.
Was any other?
Like,
No.
Mark Webber
Yeah,
was just
and
like,
then
Ricardo came in. When did Ricardo come in?
during Vettel's era, right?
Yeah, but like he's really young.
He was. Well, Red Bull has a habit of just
I'm
picking
looking
young
this up.
guys.
I'm looking.
I'm
this
looking it up
Hold on.
too. Sorry, give us 2 seconds. Ricardo's debut. Ricardo.
Not 2021. Oh, 2011 British Grand Prix with HRT. What?
I don't even remember them. I do remember the name, but like that's wild.
Oh,
Anyway.
HRT is a ridiculously funny team. They had
Anyway.
ads on their car that was like, "You could be here." I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
For
So
HRT and Danny to be on one team, I think it's pretty fitting.
Yeah.
I will
But
not
no, I
accept
mean-
Daniel Ricciardo slander.
Me neither, especially since your citizenship depends on you not being a ass to him. Anyway, the point is that
No comment.
I have been enough
I
on
plead the
influence.
five.
That was the only thing that I got out of Taylor's spiel.
I plead the five.
Wow, that's what you took from. Well, I mean, you should take that from that.
I appreciate it. But your first time watching a Grand Prix race, an entire Grand Prix race, was today, wasn't it?
Yeah, like, you know, it ended 45 minutes ago. So yeah, that was my first time.
Yeah. How did you feel? What were your general emotions about it?
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. When you first told me that it was 2 hours long, I was like, oh my, this is gonna be interesting. But I was very surprised by how fast it went. I was like, oh my gosh, the race is basically over already. And you know, I wasn't expecting it to go that fast. And I feel like it was very lively, and it was really cool to see a driver who hasn't won first before. Like, that was cool to like be able to witness that like part of history.
Yay! Yeah, I mean, you know, it's kind of funny because even for me, getting up and waking up super early for these races, it can be quite a fair bit. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a 2-hour race. I can't even. But like, they tend to go by very, very quickly. I mean, even Japan, I did a watch party for it. Which shout out to y'all who came for that. But because yes, I still have friends. But that was delayed because of rain. It was very heavy rain, like very bad. And they've actually put a limit on how long a race can last, 3 hours, with stoppage time and also with rain. So the race was stopped for 2 hours and 15 minutes. We only got like about 40 minutes or so of racing. And even that entire period, we were like chatting, drinking, having a great time, talking about like the drivers and who's hot, who's not, all that sort of shit, who's like interesting and things like that in the paddock. And it actually went by pretty quickly. We were surprised when the whole thing kind of ended. So that's kind of F1 for you. It's kind of strange when like, you know, there's a lot of action that happens in it.
Yeah, because I was like, I think it was 73 laps, right? I was
71.
like 73 laps, 71. Okay, like that's a lot of laps, but it went by so fast.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things, and I do not encourage the steerers. Look, listen, people have to understand. Like, I like women. Okay, I'm gonna say heterosexual women. You know. Of course we like to look. Why don't we like to look? I mean, like, I have never been about how good looking the drivers are. That's Afi. Go look at our TikToks and things like that. That's all what she does and looks out.
What?
Don't say what. But I'm just saying, like, why can't we look? Allow us to look. I mean, when we had Grid Girls, the guys all enjoyed that. And then they were sacked, and then now everyone's upset because women are joining and they're saying that, oh, women only join because they're thirsting after the drivers. Or thirsting after the
true.
Which is not true.
I mean,
You can enjoy the sport
Can
and
I
also
come in
thirst
and
after
say
the
something?
drivers. It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, who was it? Carlos? I
Carlos
think?
Sainz. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He's fine. He's fine.
Exactly.
Taylor.
Even though sometimes he looks very
Taylor,
anyway.
become a Ferrari fan. It's great.
Don't become a Ferrari
It's
fan.
great. There's no
No.
pain,
You're
you know?
down the path of pain. And
It's great.
sadness
It's great
and
fun. I
gnashing of
promise.
teeth.
I
Please.
promise.
Stop. No. Anyway, there's two people that have hands up, and we're not giving them a chance to talk. So I am going to give.
Well, Afi has
the
2
first
hands
chance.
up, so.
Yeah.
Thank
Afi should
you.
probably-
I also raised my hand because suck it to say. Anyways, I would just like to say that those who say, especially you guys, like guys who are saying like, oh, the girlies only like F1 because the drivers are hot. You yourself, you're admitting the drivers are hot. So please relax. If you think they're attractive, why are we arguing? Like, let's relax a little bit on that, okay? Because yes, we admire their beauty, but we also admire their talent as well. Thank you for changing my name to Appy Schumacher. We all know. Thank you.
I say, please, suck it, Benini. Continue.
Okay, so here's my 2 cents about this. Drivers are hot, but then at the same time they're hot because they have jobs to do. Like, you gotta have a body, like your physique kind of has to withstand all these forces and heats just to get the job done.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, yes, we all admire, but at the end of the day, we all understand that the drivers are not hot, and their drivers are not drivers because they're hot. They are hot because they're drivers.
Good point.
That's a good argument. Solid argument.
I would just also like to add,
And
I'm sorry, Saddam. I would also just like to add that when guys are saying that, like, oh, girls have such unrealistic, like standards and the guys that they're looking to date, things like, like things like that, right? I think that we should all consider that there are some girls who want to marry F1 drivers. So stop complaining about what girl standards are and fix your standards before you start talking. Because personally, I'm a girl who wants to marry an F1 driver. Please work on your standards to meet mine before you start complaining. Okay, thank you.
And now we've lost 100%. We have possibly lost all men that watched us.
Base.
We are doing great. Anyway, look.
Hold on. I will bring them back. I will bring them back.
I don't believe you, but it's okay. Anyway, we need to get on with the race because honestly, that's a good segue. It was also a pretty, I would say, humid race, I would say, because it's Brazil and like it started to drizzle a little bit at the end. So not the most ideal conditions for a race, but should we start with qualifying and the sprint and then go into the race, or do we just go straight into the race? What are we feeling? How are we feeling, people?
Straight to the race.
Straight to the race?
Oh,
okay.
hold on. Before that.
We need to talk about Magnussen.
Yes.
Before
that.
that. Like that.
That's very true. Let's talk about Magnussen real quickly because he for qualifying, he was on pole. Oh my days. What a go. Now, for everybody's reference, this is, and if you're new to F1, and also to explain this, give Taylor some context.
I need help.
This is, Magnussen is the Swede that is a part of,
Swede?
Is he Swede? No.
Swede. He's Danish.
Danish. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
Oh dear. Right. So
And there goes the 0 Danish people that watched us.
Imagine if someone calls you Nigerian.
And
imagine if someone calls you Nigerian.
I know. Okay, so to anyone that was Danish that's watching, we do apologize for that. I personally, humbly apologize for that. Please let me into a beautiful country. Thank you. He's a Dane who happened to be racing for America's F1 team, Haas, the one in the white, and everything like that. They are known famously.
Hold on. Context. Haas joined in 2016 as an independent team, not connected to a manufacturer, to an engine manufacturer. Well, not connected, as in is not an engine manufacturer. And they finished 4th in their first race, right? And
that's pretty impressive, right?
Yes, it is.
It is. It's like either 4th or 5th in their first race. And then they've been like incrementally rising, and then they fell once their terrible sponsors hit. But like this is their first pole as a team, period. Like that's how significant this is.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they've been through a lot too, to also add more for context. Last year, their biggest sponsor was a Russian oligarch. And in exchange for that, they had to put in his son as one of the drivers, who is known as being such a wonderful personality that everybody loves and appreciates and respects. I am kidding the
Everyone
guy.
hated him.
I was like, I feel like you're being
hated him
sarcastic.
from the start. Yes, he is annoying. He has had, he famously, right before he started his rookie year, he had a sexual assault allegation leveled against him. So we
Not
all hate him.
allegation.
There was an allegation.
Not
Sorry, not allegation. It was
allegation.
true. I
He
apologize. I
filmed
apologize.
it
I apologize. I
and
apologize.
posted
I
it
apologize.
on his
I
Instagram.
apologize.
What?
I apologize.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what
And
happened.
people were
So,
like, yeah, this is okay.
yeah, people were like, yeah, this is fine. So like, it was insane, and like, so we were yelling.
And then
about
F1 started
sacking
going
him,
downhill
and they
from
never
then on.
sacked him. Yeah, so we all hated him. Everyone
Wow.
hated him. But then he was kicked. There, him
No.
and his dad was kicked out because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And what? Yeah, am I getting this right?
It was so satisfying because, like, I cannot explain. Because seeing Haas go from 2016, a really promising, I'm not American, but fully American team, right, with a lot of potential. So we have this new young team that's not connected to a big manufacturer that's doing really well in F1, right? And then we go to 2017, they're going up, they're going well. 18 hits, terrible sponsor, terrible sponsor. 19 hits, terrible sponsor. 2020 hits, Nikita Mazepin and his Russian oligarch dad. And then preseason, not even day one. Day one, they show up in a Russian livery, Russian colors, Russian livery. Day two, gone.
So
Nikita Mazepin's gone. Kevin Magnussen is now suddenly at Haas, and they've cleaned up their shit.
Oh, entirely.
It was
So and
satisfying.
their engine manufacturer is Ferrari, and Ferrari had a much better engine this year, so they were able to outperform Mercedes at certain points at the beginning of the season. That was how good they were.
Yes.
So like, it was just very satisfying to see them. So that's why a lot of people were very excited about Magnussen getting pole, only
Also,
for that to be ruined.
Magnussen's a good guy. Like, genuinely one of the good, respectable Formula One drivers.
Yes. He's a really
And I'm not saying that because he was at Renault.
Which is his favorite team, by the way. Which is
I would just like to say though, F1, I am disappointed that a war was what took out an obvious
I know, right?
deviant.
Yeah.
Even though you people say, we racist won. Shut up and take that out of your thing. Because you don't. In all honesty, you really don't, and you haven't shown it since you put it in. We all know F1 isn't necessarily the most ethical sport, and we all watch it for entertainment, but we do expect a little bit better.
It used to be better.
It really did.
Wait, this is also the same F1 that had Marlboro as, I think, a title sponsor as well, too. Or was it for
It was just Ferrari.
It was just
Ferrari and McLaren.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They have a alcohol sponsor, their main sponsor, but like sexual harassment and racism wise, it used to be better.
Exactly.
Right.
Oh,
We didn't have any racism issues literally until Hamilton came.
Yes. But until a white guy started winning championships again, Verstappen, we were fine.
Oh God. Anyway, the point is that there was a lot of background knowledge. But we were very excited to see K-Mag get pole. But this was not a normal race weekend where after qualifying, that's where everything stops. This was a sprint race weekend where that's where technically your position for the race actually is determined. So qualifying determined your spot for the sprint race, and then the sprint race determined anyway. I don't like this format, but it's fine.
It's very stupid, and nobody wants it, but the FIA has decided.
No one wants it but the FIA.
Anyway.
I mean, at first we all didn't want it, but then after watching this sprint race, we're like, we were wrong.
I don't know.
I disagree. It's to leech more money out of people, and I don't like that.
Agreed.
How is it to leech
Moving
more money
on.
out of people?
Yeah.
Did you ask me how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ask me how?
Yeah.
Because they're putting 3 events in one weekend. That's not necessary. You don't need to put 3 events in one
Yes,
weekend
but
to
the
sell.
price
Doesn't
is
that give you more bang for
same.
your buck, though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you
exactly.
think about it. If
You
the-
don't
if
need
the
to pay for them separately because from what I've heard and what I've been told, you need to pay for each thing separately. No,
That's based on the track. That's based on the track.
And also
Silverstone was
exactly.
like,
organizing it.
and a lot of them they've been putting them on tracks where you it's wahala for it. So I personally don't like the sprint races and I think they're boring also, and it's just fuel consumption. Earth is burning. Stop. Thank you.
If we're gonna talk about leeching money, can we talk about all the crypto.com billboards? Because that's the thing that I noticed. I was like, what is with all the crypto.com stuff?
Yeah, there was a boom about that. So that started, I think, actually
Yeah.
from Miami because they were massive. I think they were the title sponsor
they were
for
the
Miami
title
race.
sponsor.
Yeah, for the
Oh.
Miami GP. So like that started, I think, and then everyone decided that they wanted a sponsorship, and that's what we talked about at the beginning, which was that actually Mercedes had one, which was FTX, and they took them off the cars because they're having.
There was another team who took their crypto sponsor off of their cars.
Aston?
Do you guys remember?
Is it Aston?
Aston, is it not
Aston
back?
might have.
It was Aston, but is it not back? All right, hold on. I'm checking this. You guys continue.
I
Anyway,
just noticed that because just my channel used to be more about talking about like scams and multi-level marketing companies, and so like I zoned in on the crypto stuff, and I was like, oh god.
yeah, isn't it kind of interesting how that is actually now a thing? Like I was even surprised about it too when I started seeing that pop up more in Formula One. I'm like, we're better than this, right? Like
Yeah.
this is like
Hello.
Mercedes.
I mean,
Like Mercedes
what-
sponsors are also like the Ritz-Carlton. Same,
Yeah.
and Patronus and things like that. Like like
I mean,
legitimate businesses.
Patronus.
But I mean, Patronus is a fuel sponsor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Those
Which,
Better
by the
than
way, don't be buying your
Aramco.
fuel from Shell anymore because of how Ferrari's doing. Anyway,
Wow.
I mean, it still doesn't like having like Ritz-Carlton and then also like having rug pull kind of stuff in the same
Yeah.
thing.
It
is,
was a
a little
McLaren?
disconcerting.
I think
McLaren
it was
even had a
McLaren.
crypto
Yeah, I think it might be
sponsor.
McLaren.
Yeah.
The ones who removed it? I
Yeah,
think it was
McLaren
us-
might have removed theirs as well. Which
And
again is also
Williams.
strange.
Hold on, was it Williams?
Hey, Williams, they don't have money. Please, can we move
Williams don't
on?
have money to be removing
on.
sponsors like that. Why would they do that?
I don't remember, but a team removed their crypto sponsor. I
think
think it
it's
was
good for
Aston
them.
Martin.
And good
Yeah.
for them. Moving on to the actual sprint race, please.
Oh,
Wait,
I thought you were
George
gonna say
Russell-
race. I was gonna do my favorite hand motion.
Okay, fine. Let's move on to the sprint race. Let's say really quickly. George Russell came first. Carlos Sainz came second. Lewis Hamilton came third. Hip hip hooray! Wonderful vibes. The big part of the news is the Alpines coming together. Which
Yes, they came together, and it turns out it was entirely Fernando Alonso's fault. But Fernando Alonso decided to run his mouth saying, "Oh, he kind of applied that it was Esteban Ocon's fault, and it's a mess. It's
He's
a
so
mess.
messy. He's
Hold
so
on,
messy.
I just
He-
need to.
he is-
I like his
he-
teeth.
Girl,
You like
What?
his teeth?
Yeah, have you
Wait.
seen them? They're really big and white.
Like, did I hear her correctly?
No,
They're
you
like
heard her
brown.
correctly. She did this on the last. She did this on the U.S.
Looks
Grand
like a
Prix show as
plate.
well, too.
That's what it looks like, a plate.
Damn.
I can't even with you. Anyway, we need to move on to the actual race because the race is what happened. And Taylor was right. She witnessed history because George Russell got his first ever race win.
I'm so happy for that boy. I remember like the way his come up, like going from making that PowerPoint to going to Williams to getting his first taste of Mercedes at Sakir 2020 to actually joining Mercedes. The come up it's kind of been it's just been lovely to watch. My question is how are people at the Renault Silo Cup doing? Are they okay? Because that means George Russell is never, ever joining the Renault Silo Cup. Ever.
The what?
So
Say-
to explain,
Sarah, I think you're gonna need to explain the joke.
yes. So Total Wolf, so a long time ago, Taylor, Total Wolf said that when he was talking to George when he was in Williams, that like some days you look like you're ready for Mercedes, other days you look like you're ready for the Renault Silo Cup, which is a completely different series where they drive in stock cars supplied by Renault.
The Renault Clio Cup, right?
Yeah,
That one. Yeah, that
The
one.
Renault
Okay.
Clio Cup. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
Those
they
are the
race like
every day.
small Renault Clios. It's funny.
Small cars, very cute. And they even actually tweeted at George Russell saying that we're going to be a support race at the French Grand Prix in 2021, which was really funny to watch. And
then the
now,
French Grand Prix did the French?
Yeah.
The French Grand Prix happened last year. Sorry, my bad.
and it was just like, we're just seeing him. We're seeing him perform and be great, and now that series, like I'm sure deep down we're happy for George Russell, but we're also sad that he's never coming there, unless it's actually to watch a race.
No, but I think
I'm
George should
surprised
really
it's
have a
taken
great.
so long.
I'm also surprised too, but then it also kind of makes sense. I mean, remember, let's not forget that this has been a very dominant season for Red Bull and for
Yeah, I was gonna ask why.
And Ferrari.
and for Ferrari as well too. So
Ferrari.
like this was difficult. This was a difficult season for Mercedes, and like the car was in the beginning, and it just was hard. So like it makes sense that it's taken this long for him to have gotten his race win. I will say though, coming so close in Sakir, I mean, that was very painful, and we weren't sure when we were going to see the next opportunity again. So yes, this is a long time coming, and I'm glad that he was able to get it. Yes, sir.
Looks like the extra 5 million worked.
Can we remove him from the freaking Zoom? Because he's so freaking annoying.
What have I done?
Wait, what? I missed that went over my head. What?
Toto said that if Red Bull got away with a fine, they'd bankroll the Mercedes upgrades.
Good. Actually, the extra 5 million worked. Amen. Good job.
That's what I'm saying. How's that annoying?
Let us no, that one. Okay, so Taylor, also to explain. In this season and the last season, there was a new rule. Last season, there was a new rule introduced where everyone was allowed to spend up to a certain amount on their car. And that was it. If you spent any more, you'd be in trouble. Now, Red Bull did that. And they did some creative accounting to be able to do that. Like put a lot of money into their catering to explain, that's why we overspent. It was bullshit. So,
Aston Martin overspent on chairs.
They're expensive.
Shut up. Your people have also, and they for what as well too, actually. Anyway, the point is that Aston Martin. So Red Bull was fined, and they lost time next year in the wind tunnel. So they won't be able to develop their car to the full potential as they would have, because they're a winning constructor, so they get the most time in the wind tunnel. But now they won't anymore.
Gotcha.
And they probably, I don't know about this year, but we'll see. Anyway, but yeah, there was a lot of this around it. And seeing that it was effectively a slap on the wrist, because they did benefit tremendously from it. They won the Drivers' Championship last year, whereas everyone played by the rules and,
Well, everyone
except for Aston, who decided they want more fancy tests, which is okay.
The whole thing runs a lot deeper. I mean, if you want to do a deep dive into it, there are claims of fraud. There are claims of, faking. What's it called? Forgery. Forge. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Thank you, Salam. There's a lot of it. It's really bad, honestly, because they blamed it on catering, which I get, I'm hungry too, I get it. But the other thing is they also changed names on the form. It was very messy.
I mean, their technical advisor.
They just wanted some wings, okay? They didn't have to clarify what type. Okay, so
There are
front
wings on the
wing,
car.
back wing, chicken wings. That's the
There are wings on the car. There's also the chicken wings. I mean,
No.
look, their technical advisor, who is arguably one of the best people to design a Formula One car ever, like he's amazing.
Period.
Adrian Newey. He has his own company, so they did creative accounting even to pay him around that and like incorporate. It is very sus the way they did it. But anyway, it was
So imagine an MLM, but it's legal.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
MLMs are legal, so it's kind of like the same thing. Yeah.
I didn't say
Yeah, it all
Ariana. I said
sounds very
Adrian.
shady.
Exactly. So like it was very I mean, this is something maybe, I don't know, something to look into. But anyway, the point is that Mercedes were like, well, that's just the penalty that they're gonna get, then we might as well just go all at it too. And they did. And I'm excited. Like, rules be damned. If you think like you can't get away with this sorts of bullshit and expect other teams to follow suit, if that's what the penalty is gonna be. Especially if they can afford it. Like Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, maybe.
Haas.
They can afford it.
Yeah, it seems like if they're just gonna get a slap on the wrist, then what is gonna prevent anyone from doing that?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no point.
Why not?
There's literally no point. There was no point to even giving them a punishment if this is how.
There was no point to even putting the rules in place there anyway, because the people are just going to spend however they want to spend. So, like, what was the point of that? Even playing field my ass. Anyway,
Can we talk about the race?
we talk about the race, but I want to talk about Verstappen. We only have a few minutes to do it because we have to close. I want to talk about Verstappen real quick because even though that man did not win, he was very far behind. So far behind, as in came 6. That's far for him. He's usually on the podium this entire season. He made a very interesting comment over the radio right towards the end. So, Taylor, as I was explaining to you also during the race, his teammate, Sergio Perez, was ahead of him the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, like I was saying, but then Verstappen overtook him at a certain point towards the end of the race because he happened to have the pace, to catch the other guys. Right, and things like that. To which I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know what? Sergio's lacking. But then Verstappen didn't have the pace all of a sudden. He couldn't catch them. And so like the last 2 laps, last lap, that sort of thing, the team ordered him to let Sergio go through. And it was and he was like, you need to give the position back. Perez has the pace. To which he responded something along the lines of, I've already told you about this. We've already had a discussion about this. I've made up my mind. Basically, no. Saying no. He's not going to do it. And he did not. He ended up finishing ahead of Checo, which was disastrous for Checo's second place, ambition.
Position.
Yeah, championship position. Yeah. Because now, like I explained to you, Taylor, they're level on points. Him and Charles Leclerc of Ferrari are level on points. So like where Charles was like telling Sainz, let me through for second position, think about it that way. He, there was no way that was going to be possible. Sainz was 3 seconds ahead of him. That wasn't happening. Yeah. But Verstappen, they were relatively close. And Perez played by the rules and let him through. And Verstappen did not reciprocate. And
like, I'll be pissed.
Okay, go ahead and say.
I'm pissed for Sergio. It's like sometimes you gotta give some to get some. Like Sergio, what hasn't this man given to the team just to let Max Verstappen win? And for that to be repaid, for that to be his comeuppance. I'll be throwing shit in the debrief room. Okay, after your turn.
Thank you. I would like to say, I say gave me the floor, said fix your face. I would like to say that Verstappen tends to show time and time again that he does not have the maturity to make critical decisions in the sport. Now, this is very harsh, I know, and I don't hate Verstappen, and I don't want people to think that I hate Verstappen because I don't. But regarding what he did, it was a extremely selfish move because he's already won. He's already won his championship. He screwed up his game for his teammates. His teammates who has helped him win the championship. Now,
the second time in a row. I just want to add that for the second time
in a row.
Yeah.
So I also think that one of our friends came to watch the race with us today, and he was saying that, you know, if Verstappen played it correctly, he could have made it look like it was Hamilton's fault. The racing incident, if Verstappen did, and honestly, I was like, yeah, for sure. If Verstappen moved, then you can actually make it look like Hamilton pushed, right? But again, Verstappen does not see into the future and see ahead of things, right? To make critical decisions in during a race. And I understand it's a race, you know, so many decisions need to be made. This. You're an F1 driver. You're meant to do that. That's your job. That's literally what you're paid to do. So like, let's get it together. I think he's young, so we can say, oh, he's young, like, you know, he needs to, you know, mature a little bit more. But he's also selfish and he needs to figure himself out, because that's not okay to do, especially when you're in a team. You're not, yes, you're the number one driver, but you're not always going to be the number one driver, especially when you've already won the championship. So get it together. Oh, I'm so angry. Thank you.
The kids got the emotional maturity of, genuinely, it's like time and time again, like Afi said. And for context, Taylor, last year during the last race, the championship went up all the way to the last race, and Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez defended for his life in order to help Max Verstappen get the championship. And for once, I was like, this is a good teammate duo, you know? They're going to do great next year. And it's just like, Max Verstappen has just time and time proved that he does not deserve to work in a team. And it's like when Hamilton was constantly winning championships, there wouldn't have been a time where I would have been like, gosh, I hope he gets a teammate that's going to give him a run for his money. I hope Max Verstappen gets someone as bad as him. I genuinely do, because I think that's the only thing that's going to get him back on track. It's so childish, the stuff that he does.
I think with the exception of maybe Daniel Ricciardo, I think he's always had a teammate that's been willing to kind of play second fiddle and maybe not have had the, you know, maybe not necessarily, I wouldn't say talent, maybe like just the edge that he kind of has, up until Checo. I mean, like, Checo, this is a guy that was with what is now Aston Martin before he went to Red Bull, and he won with Aston Martin
with a Racing Point,
with a Racing Point, which is now Aston Martin. So like, this is and that's not a good car. But like, it was very, very impressive, you know? And I mean, and we can just take a look at how I feel like a number one driver should be towards his teammate in just today. I mean, Lewis, this is his home Grand Prix. He just became an honorary citizen. He has every right to be a tad, and he wasn't that far off from Russell. I mean, it was just a second. But like, he had every right to be a little bit disappointed that, like, hey, you know, like, there's put his ego ahead of the team. But he didn't. He rose to the occasion. He congratulated Georgie boy. He was so excited. He was so happy. He was happy for the team. That was a great result, a 1-2. He put his ego aside and being like, you know what, this is Hamilton. And was like, you know what? This was a great result. Like, we've had a shit season. We're gonna take the wins where we can get it. And move on ahead to Abu Dhabi. And I think
Sounds
that
like he was like the bigger man in the situation.
Exactly.
he's always been the bigger man, Taylor.
Whoa,
I mean,
wait, whoa.
Hey,
You had it
hey,
talking.
80% of the time
hey.
80% of okay, I will lie. He's still a racing driver after all. He's not a god. 90, 85, 80% of the time he has been the
60.
bigger man. So
Verstappen, 2. Verstappen's been the bigger man 2% of the time.
But Hamilton, but like this is a good example of like how I feel like you should be as a leader, you know? Like I think that's a great thing. I mean, now who's to say that's going to happen? If Mercedes becomes is much more competitive next year, and they're like 1-2s all over the place, who knows how long that's going to last? It doesn't last that long. But in this moment, I feel like it's a good textbook example of how you should be as a team.
But also, 5th and 6th, like it was not. It did not matter. It did not matter
It was not
at all.
deep whatsoever.
I do not understand why he wouldn't give the place.
Yeah.
Can we also just say? Can we also just look at Ocon and Alonso, who actually had beef during this whole weekend? Yeah. And Ocon, even though he didn't want to, and he said no, it still gave the place to Alonso when he was told to. Still, and I'm pretty sure Ocon and Verstappen are around the same age. So this isn't even maturity. This is emotional intelligence. Which Ocon has.
And we've seen both of them crash and act like children.
We have.
Don't give Ocon credit.
Let's not give Ocon too much grace.
Come on.
We're not. But Ocon did have more emotional intelligence during this race, because Alonso had dogged Ocon out the day before, but still, Ocon still gave Alonso the place. Still, even though he said he didn't want to. And Perez and Verstappen were not dogging each other out this weekend. So honestly, Verstappen was just being purely selfish, and it was ridiculous, and it was very stupid. And I think he needs to work on it, because
we gotta wrap up, because
last thing. The statistic continues, ladies and gentlemen. I said this at the beginning of the year. Any Formula One driver who has taken a selfie with yours truly has ended up driving for Mercedes and winning a race.
That is just that. You see, no, that's not fair. It's first of all, it is one person. Second of all, that is.
It's a good statistic, though.
When you have taken a picture with maybe Lewis or Bottas, then we can talk. Listen,
I will take a picture with Kevin Magnussen, and he will win a race. Oh shoot, and drive for Mercedes. Oh
but then,
no.
Yeah, he needs to drive for Mercedes. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's either Hamilton or Bottas, mate. Taylor, we have to let you have the floor, obviously. How do you feel? You have had the full F1 experience today. How do you feel?
I feel energized, and I'm so happy that I was able to watch the race with you guys and have all your commentary and like have the backstory on everything, because I think it like I don't know any of this, you know, so it was like really helpful to hear. But I think I would definitely watch a race again for sure.
You know, actually, there's a race that comes near you every single year. It's the U.S. Grand Prix.
Woo!
Wait, is that at
the Circuit of the Americas?
Oh,
it's right by you.
I'll have to keep that in mind.
I know. I'll see you soon. Anyway,
you're welcome anytime, please.
Thank you.
I would like literally die.
I would love to see Saddam's travel calendar, because I'm convinced there's no empty slots.
There probably isn't.
There is. I can slot a few things here and there, you know, move some things around.
Like
anyway,
the Turkish Grand Prix,
guys. Yes, because that is actually not feasible. Anyway, guys, Taylor, thank you so much for joining. I know is there anything that you'd want to plug? I know we spoke a little bit about your YouTube channel before. But
I mean, yeah, my YouTube channel is the Antibot. A lot of my videos are about like multi-level marketing and scams and that kind of thing. But recently I've been interviewing former missionary kids about their experience and talking about kind of a lot of the harms that happen in mission communities. So if any of your viewers are interested in any of that, yeah, my YouTube channel is the Antibot. So you can find me there. And thank you for having me.
Oh, it's all good. And it's a very great YouTube channel. You guys definitely should check it out. It's just really cool to hear from that perspective as well as all the MLMs. Like, I did not realize how pervasive or how easy it is to get into one. It's
don't tell me you got tricked by an MLM.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining. I am kidding. I don't think I have, but thank you guys.
You would tell me.
I would. I actually would ask you. Actually, I'd be like,
yeah,
seems sus. But thank you guys so much for joining. We will see you guys in one more week. We're rounding out the season. It's been such a fun season, and we're glad to be going back to, oh gosh, we will need therapy after this. Back to Abu Dhabi. We won't talk about it. We will probably talk about it next week. Until then, guys.
Don't! I will mute everyone who brings it up.
You all. Bye!
Bye!